get started. Cameron Parish Police Jury's, budget meeting. In the budget meeting, Monday, November 4th, 2024.
That's the first item. Just the budget review.
Yeah, Mayor, I have a green card here. Ms. Kelly, you mind if please, Miss Alyssa?
Hi, gentlemen. I'm here mostly to learn about the budget and how it works. And I was talking with Madam Treasurer, and she was explaining a lot to me. I am representing the fish organization in town. We have about 170 members in Cameron Parish. I don't know if this is the right container to bring this to attention, but as we're talking about tax dollars and appropriating them into the community, I have some numbers from past local property tax abatements that I'd love to bring to attention to reiterate the importance of fair taxing across the board for citizens and corporations alike. In 2022, local government here gave Venture Global $1,324,223,844 in property tax abatement. In 2019, it started out as $870,000 in property tax abatement from local government, so it's jumped $1 billion plus in that time from 2019 to 2022, and I just think this community would benefit a lot from that. So as those decisions come across you guys in the future and other people in positions of power in town, I hope that we lean on industrial tax exemptions gently to bring more prosperity into the community, better infrastructure, so that we could continue to improve Cameron and fortify it for this beautiful community. I've fallen in love with Cameron and the people who live here. This ecosystem is beautiful. I really appreciate the work you guys are doing, and we hope to in the future work together with you more on projects. I'm grateful for the disaster funding and coastal restoration that is on here, and want to see the town continue to grow and be fortified and resilient against disasters and other harms that may come its way. That's all.
Hey, first of all, I'd just like to say thank you for coming today. I think you got a little bit of something not correct though. The industrial tax exemption does not come here locally. That is a state program.
But to clarify, it does do with our property taxes. It is unfair, but it was put upon us by the state. We did not elect it. We did not vote on it. We do not have anything to do with it. We would like to see it change. In fact, we've pushed the last governor, what was his name? Edwards. And Edwards came up with a 20% exemption that we could vote on. That would allow us to at least get 20% of the taxes up front. But all of that has been done from the state level, and if we could have changed it, believe me, we would have.
I understand.
Yeah.
Thank you for stating that and recognizing it. I have this one graphic, I forget where I pulled it from, but it shows the local and state tax abatements, and as you said, there's a tax credit rebate, tax credits, property tax abatements, various different things under here. And if you are in rooms to advocate to state government to change that, I hope that you bring that to the table and just show the tragedy that is, billions of dollars of taxes that could be coming to this town when most of the churches are abandoned, the hospital's abandoned. And I know that's not all on your shoulders. But yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Appreciate you, thank you.
Thank you.
Alright, so now for the budget review. Last month, if y'all, I printed y'all all the summary and then the detailed, but, nothing's majorly changed in the projected fund balance ending 12/31. I added, Mr. Tom had asked for $2,400 into his budget, I put that, and then we had two, budget amendments for 2024, which was our new accounting software and some, 15,000 to Hawk Canal, and that's in there, so these are your budget balances after that, if you look on the summary sheet. Road and Bridge is still in the negative 595,277,000. So do y'all have any questions, or y'all want me to go through each total? Not much has changed from last month. Maybe if y'all want to start with the budget request, and then we can go back to it.
Yeah.
Shane? Or Kara?
I'm going last. Is that the most?
Sure.
Okay, so we have the parish's comprehensive master plan for coastal protection and restoration. This plan was originally developed in 2013, and it needs to be updated. It's been over 10 years now, so as you know, the needs, priorities of the parish for coastal protection and restoration change, and so my ask today is that the money is there, so I'm not asking for any money, I'm just asking for a direction to execute a professional service agreement to get these services in place for a team to develop and update our master plan. Do y'all have any questions?
What's the cost?
My budget is not to exceed 100,000.
Okay. And we have that money is already available?
Yes, it's in the restricted funds in the coastal.
Can we make a motion in this meeting?
Yeah, and normally I know Mr. Ronald, the president, normally executes and signs contracts, but if y'all can just direct maybe Katie as parish administrator to sign any and all documents.
Pending legal review.
Pending legal review, but if not, it's okay, but I'm just saying. It's a professional service contract, so,
So you having the contract today?
no,
So we,
not today.
Maybe explain to these guys what,
So what all takes place is, originally the plan was developed, it's about a 300-page plan. In the plan, there's different projects. There's marsh creation, there's hydrologic projects, canal maintenance. And during this process of putting in new projects, community engagement meetings will be had. So we'll have probably at least 3 community meetings. You all will be invited as local officials. All the Gravity Drainage Board members, all the large landowners. It's actually a community effort. We want to hear everyone's input and all of their needs and priorities of their district to make sure it goes into this plan. We did actually meet with CPRA, me and Katie, last week, and we are kind of on a hard timeline of completing and updating this plan. We have about a 6-month turnaround before the state, CPRA, starts conducting their project solicitation round 1, which is beginning in June through July for the round 1. So we want to make sure that all of our projects are identified in our plan so that we can bring to the table of what our priorities are to be in the 2029 State Coastal Master Plan. So I just need direction to execute.
I know I feel good about it. I just want to make sure that you are very heavily involved being our
I will be involved every step of the way. You all will be involved every step of the way. And I know y'all just direct Sam as this initiative, but if all of you are represented in these meetings, that I would greatly appreciate it. Because all of your districts will be involved.
Gary, how does this contract service work? Do you have to do a low bidder, or how does that?
No, I just go, I actually have a team put together. The team lead is actually going to be Mr. Rene Escurary. He was an environmental operations lead for Fenster-Maker. And so he was very involved throughout the goal of shoreline protection projects, that they actually initiated the E&D designs on our shoreline protection projects. So he's very heavily involved, has the knowledge. Tetra Tech, they were actually involved on the technical aspects of the GIS and all that from the original plan. So they will be involved in stream wetland services. Mr. Dean Roberts, he's a biologist. And so we have a lot of good, I think, local knowledge that'll support our project going
So
forward.
it'll be actually 3 different contractors?
It's going to be, the lead is going to be Rene Estere. He has an LLC, so it'll be him being the lead.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And this is gonna be for how long? How long a period?
We're trying to finish it in a 6-month timeline.
No, okay, but how long is it gonna be good for? In years?
We like to see the plan going forward, needs to be updated every 5 to 6 years. I think every 6 years, 5 years is good, stating that because the state plan updates theirs every 6 years. So if we can stay ahead of that, that would be the goal, to update it every 5.
Good deal.
So I would just need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, and the motion is for you to
Proceed.
proceed with the
With the
money
service
you have
contract.
available.
Yep, with the service contract, yes, sir.
So,
You can direct Katie as the parish administrator. I know most of the time, if it's not you, it's our parish administrator, so,
Oh, you need that in the second motion?
yes.
Well, it can actually all be in one motion if y'all want it. It would be,
Okay. I amend my motion to include that?
would be a motion to proceed with Kara getting a, professional service agreement and Katie executing any and all documents necessary,
And one last question.
And we'll have
Is this
pending legal
24
review.
or 25?
pending legal review,
Yeah.
yes.
24?
It's gonna start now, and it's gonna go into 25.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I made motion second.
Good?
so
Thank y'all. What's the matter, Ronald? Mister?
I don't have no problem with Katie signing it, of course. Will we get another look at it before it's signed?
Sure, I can send it out. Mm-hmm.
I'm mostly, not so much me, but I know Mr. Sam is pretty heavily involved in that and couldn't be here today, but
Yeah, and yeah, I've talked to him too, so,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah,
It's,
that's no problem.
it's mainly just to be able to not have to wait to the next meeting.
yeah, no, that's
Everything, so
okay.
if we can get everything tidied up with Tom and y'all, I can go ahead and sign it, and she can get started. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And anything ever that I have to sign, I mean, Mary's not far away from my
Yeah.
residence, you know, so.
The-
But, so we got a motion by Mr. Sonny,
Yes.
second by Mr. Johnny. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Carrie.
You're welcome.
No. So you gonna tell the people?
Yep,
You aware what you
in my district,
Huh?
So,
No, that ain't your
in my
district.
district.
That ain't your district.
Miss Alyssa, so, Miss Carrie, she's our coastal restoration person, and she talks to everybody all over the United States for this, so.
Great. I know we spoke with Coalition to Restore Coastal Louisiana. They're going to be working with you guys on this. And I, years ago, did a 2.2 million acre habitat restoration project for the Kenyan government and have a lot of experience with that. And I'd love to see some of our local fishermen who are struggling to make a living be able to be reoriented into habitat restoration and given another opportunity with that, since they know the the ecosystem so well, and if there's any ways we could plug in, whether on a voluntary basis or helping with strategy. We've also talked with a group called Waveline that's getting decommissioned wind energy turbines and putting them on the east coast of Louisiana to grow oysters on and help with like hurricane surges. So
Yeah.
lots of potential, and would love to work with you on that.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you so much for making
Thank
that
you.
action.
Mr. Shane?
Give y'all a copy of the, permits for that Paul McCall Bridge and a copy of, everything from the engineering firm on the bridge.
So what's your, take here, Shane?
My take, older bridge, put culverts. That's gonna be the cheapest compared to a new bridge.
And,
And we have no choice. The state shut half of it down. So.
Ms. Kayla, was you able to reach out to Mr. Danny today or no?
No, I did not talk to him. He was,
It's okay, it's okay.
but I think I spoke with him Friday. I told him a little bit Friday, but I will, I'll probably need to call one of his girls. If they could just give me who to contact, I'll contact her.
So, could we be reimbursed by such a grant or no? How long can we wait, Mr. Shane? I know you're down to one lane, but what kind of timeline we have here? Can we wait till after the first of the year?
I can get with the state and see, cause they waiting on me right now for,
Okay.
they wanna know my plans right
I'd
now.
like to know more about maybe potentially this emergency.
I can get with the state and see if we can hold off to the first of the year.
You're not gonna
Mark?
you're not gonna be able to execute anything.
Your
till
area,
after the first.
Well, I know that, but I
Cindy.
mean,
Yeah.
they want a plan of action now.
Right, but the construction's not gonna start
Right.
till January.
But I
Right.
cannot give them a
I mean,
plan
it
of
may not
action
even-
until they approve.
Well, my ordeal is, I don't want something to happen, they shut this bridge down
No.
with the personnel living on the other side and the
I
residents.
agree.
Then
Then you got a
It's-
little pecan when hunting season fixing to crank up.
you know, this is one of them things that unfortunately I don't think you can really wait on. Kinda like striping of these roads, every time it's foggy or something, I get calls from school bus drivers and that concerned about safety and things like that. So there's a lot of things that needs to be done, and there's some things that we wanna do that we can't do. But unfortunately, I think this is one of them. As far as about the grant stuff, I didn't know anything or hear anything about the grant stuff as long as we've been discussing the bridge, but,
Come up.
you know, I don't know if it's something that we could get or get reimbursed for, but I definitely think this is very pressing. I don't think it could wait too long,
I agree.
so that's my opinion on the road over there in Grand Chenier.
Yeah, me and Kayla and Katie talked a little bit about the grant stuff this morning.
Yeah, and Kayla just mentioned, Mr. Mark, just so you know, she just mentioned it.
Yeah, I just got the call back from Michael Warren Thursday
Oh.
afternoon.
It would definitely be a blessing if we can get that, but
But it's just how fast, so how long are you
Well,
willing
maybe
to
we
wait?
could, yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
depends.
it's really
Depends
up to
on
the
the
state. How long
They
is
could
it
come
gonna
in
be
here
before
tomorrow
the
and say,
state
hey, the other
closes the
side's
road?
getting bad now, we gotta shut the whole
Can
thing.
you reach out to them again? What,
And I'll
what's your
call,
name, Mark?
Yeah.
I'll call them.
No, definitely. But it's up to the state. I mean, it's out of our hands. It depends on how bad it is and when they're gonna say that they can't cross it all is gonna be the issue.
They did that to us on Pumpkin
Oh,
210.
ditch and cover.
What is the deficiencies? Did they state it in the report?
You can see all the rebar underneath the bridge breaking through the cement.
Do you have some coverage on hand that could be readily available for this?
No, sir.
What size culverts are we talking?
40, I think it's 42s or 48s. I'd have to look through the packet. I just got it last night.
It's,
Is it 42-inch, Gary?
Do you have this piece of paper we got up there?
Mhm.
Because it says 42 inch, but 384, it's got quality, is that feet? Is that-
Yeah, cause it's like 7 culverts, that's the footage.
So how, is it 1, 2, 3 runs of
Culverts,
culverts?
7 different culverts.
7 different,
7 42-inch
Just in the,
culverts.
just in the
7
bridge?
with probably 6 or 7 each run, what you saying?
Which means 6 or 7 each.
Well, if we look at it, is it gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Yeah, it's 7 in a
40
line.
feet long?
Just a slip. I don't remember the length we had said, 40s at least.
Yeah, because if it's concrete culverts, they come in 8-foot sections.
Yeah, but we ain't doing concrete.
You're not doing concrete, what you doing?
We won't be able to afford that.
Ollie.
Ollie?
Yeah.
So we can't dig this and put a bigger culvert, Mr. Shames, it being it's a temporary.
I mean, you can, but
It's a slough.
water ain't but a couple foot deep right there. You go
gotta
too
open
big
it.
of a cover, you gotta countersink it and it's just gonna stay full of mud.
Yeah, you gotta look at, we're going from a bridge to culverts. You got to, they're gonna want the same value.
Yeah, you gotta have the same value.
Well, no, I was referring to something the temporary, the bypass. 'Cause you gotta put in a bypass, correct?
I'm sure the bypass probably won't even have culverts in it.
Yeah, they gotta put some, just
They
in
gotta put
case
some.
we get a rain.
I got
Yeah,
you.
just the bypass, if I'm looking at it right,
$150,000.
$150,000.
That's
You're
what
gonna
I
pull it
was
right
asking.
back out.
If
That's the bypass in and out?
That's what I was asking him is if.
Yes, one bypass to go in and out.
So do you have culverts available for a bypass? No? Okay. That's what I was asking.
No,
Cause in the event the state calls you and says, hey, close it right now, we wanna be able to put, get these
Oh,
people in and
no,
out.
nothing. I mean, something that big, we don't keep on hand, cause we don't hardly use that.
So Shane, you wouldn't feel comfortable renting a big machine and trying to do it with our people?
Ooh,
No.
you ain't gonna get it done as quick as they will, contractors will. A lot of work.
Yeah.
You can't do it anyway in-house.
Yeah, cause
We're
of the
not,
price
oh,
of
yeah,
it,
we're not certified.
cause of the price, and we not certified.
Sounds like it's pretty much a
We
given.
talked once about
Sir?
moving the road and just instead of doing the temporary, we'll go ahead and build a new one and then take the old bridge out. We have given up on that. I mean, fix it one time, that's $150,000 saving right there.
Yeah, but that's just to
And
go
just,
around.
yeah, but that bypass, Mr. Sonny, they gonna let us use their land to
Yeah,
do the
that's,
bypass.
Well, my deal, like I said, if they would sign a right of way where the bypass is going, we could build the new bridge, road, whatever we're gonna build there. And once we got through with it, we'd take the old bridge out and we'd swap the property. We'd condemn that piece and give it back to them. And all we'd have to do is move the road over just a little bit on both sides.
Yeah,
I think that would be
where we
way
gotta
more.
go, where the bypass, we gotta go on top of a pipeline, so they probably won't let us,
The pipeline's not under the bridge? I mean, how we,
it's on the, before the bridge.
don't you hate them pipeline companies?
Especially this one that he's talking about.
So they're gonna let us do it?
Yeah.
They said shouldn't be a problem, maybe it's gonna be temporary over there, pipeline.
Where exactly they gonna build this temporary road? Are they just going around the
Go
work?
around
or-
the bridge on the west side of it.
Yeah, so they're going all the way back to the main thing, or they're just gonna go around just the bridge and back
Make
to the
that
road?
curve before the bridge, when you're gonna come off that curve, you're gonna bypass around the bridge, get back on the road.
Yeah, so that's
West
not,
side of the bridge.
so that's not even going all the way back to the other road if we was gonna bypass it and build a new one. Yeah, you wouldn't even touch rebuilding the road for even putting the culverts in.
No, I think the only thing is if you could find a contractor that could get it done within a day, you know?
This is a parish highway, right?
Yeah,
It's a parish road.
Yes, sir.
And, being an emergency, do we need to bid it?
Oh, yeah, we're gonna have to bid it out.
Because it's an emergency?
No, because of the price of it. It's over $250,000.
Because it's an emergency?
No, it's over the bid law.
It's over the bid law.
Okay. Just ask.
Your contractor, your road guy, he's the one that got these numbers, or did you
The
get? these numbers?
engineer, yes, sir. Engineer got all that. Yep.
So this is his estimate, or is this actual contractor's estimate?
No, that's just an estimate.
So it could be more, it could be less.
Yeah.
So even if.
Kayla said she don't have no money, so now what we do?
Go to the bank.
If,
Stop the EOC bill.
Or the bank borrow some money.
so hey,
And
question.
we got
on this.
people that live back there.
If we push this today, like if we said, okay, let's go ahead and fix it today, how much permitting time is there?
What did Blaine say? I mean, it depends. It depends on your, wetlands and all that. It's,
So I mean, even if we pulled the trigger today, you talking about some quite a bit of time to just get the permit.
If you had everything done, how long does it take to even just do the bid?
The bid?
30 days.
You know, 30 days, just.
And like
just
we're
bid.
gonna be looking to our treasurer just to find an offset.
But I mean, I ain't no use bidding until we get a permit, really.
It says 120
You
days.
can.
If you read his proposal, the entire permitting process generally requires at least
Oh, yeah.
120 days starting from the date of initial submittal.
120 days. Seen
You're
that.
talking middle of next year or something like that, just.
Awesome.
I mean, it could be expedited due to the emergency of it, so hopefully it'll be quicker than that, but.
Yeah, you and Mr. Sonny was there.
So can
Yeah,
you
you
pay
can.
for it, Miss Kayla?
Huh?
Can you pay for it?
Me?
No, I mean, can Shane pay for it?
$440,000.
He's negative 595,000.
Okay, how much were the raises for everybody at 3%? Is that?
Not that much.
I can look and see.
I mean, do we have to take everybody's 3% or whatever their raises are this year?
Let me back up.
No.
Oh, now we got some attention.
This is just a few. Wait till road crew hears about that.
I mean, we have to find the money somewhere, because if you look on our general fund, right now, our balance is 4.6 million ending balance, and right at 3 million of that we cannot touch. It is Karis Gomez money for coastal restoration, we cannot touch that money.
What money do we have allocated anywhere that's not being utilized and used at the moment?
We have $1 million in the disaster recovery and $2 million in Granite Grant.
And that's the only two that we got allocated through the whole parish.
There any
We
trash?
have, 900,000 to North Cameron EOC, which we have to utilize that. We do have, hold on, that, Gravity Drainage 4, we have 100,000 allocated to them too.
For the Boyd structure, Boyd, whatever.
Yeah.
structure.
Yeah, they haven't used, or what, do you know when
It
they're
should
gonna
be soon.
use it? Is it this year, or do I need to move it to next year?
Probably move it to next year.
Okay, I'll do that.
So-
That's all I can see. I usually decide.
Who's gonna get the permit, Shane? The contractor or
No,
the
no.
parish have to get the permit?
That Blaine.
Blaine,
So, yeah,
That's who'll get Miss Karen? Is these people?
Blaine Johnson.
Blaine Johnson is going to do that,
No,
and then
these people. Blaine Johnson.
he's gonna do the coastal use permits.
This is Myers and Associates, this is Blaine Johnson.
Okay.
Myers and Associates is the A&E firm engineering the project.
So who's gonna get the bids, different people to bid on this?
Is
We
Myers
do,
gonna do
or
that?
they do?
I guess it's time for me to get up there.
I don't know if they.
I tell y'all-
I've never done this before.
Yeah, you better come on up here, 'cause we about to take some raises.
This is part of Shane and I's, and Kayla's plan.
Hang on, I'll put my glasses on, I need to see all this.
All right, so historically, the Cameron Parish Police Jury has allowed their employees, and more particularly their road and bridge employees, to do work for all the other political sub-entities across the parish at no charge. It's always been that way. No one's ever thought twice about it. I think maybe about 6 years ago, we did have some budget cutting meetings with that jury at the time. I think, Mr. Sonny, you were a part of that, where we discussed, and this was a conversation, how do we start offsetting some of our expenditures? How do we generate more revenue? Do we pass some more taxes, or do we start charging people for services? The jury, they made a few budget cuts on what they were going to do, and then we started getting some new revenues, started getting some FEMA reimbursements. Our budget started looking much healthier, so we abandoned that plan, and we're like, okay, we're good, let's keep chugging along. And now I think, unfortunately, we're to that point now again where we can't continue to fund everyone else's government and sustain ours. And so that's one of the things we were going to talk to you guys about today, and I'm going to cite the state statute for you, which is 33:1236, which says that a police jury may provide administrative services to agencies, boards, districts, or other subdivisions, and may assess the charge of not more than 4% of the total revenue of that entity for such services, subject to an agreement between the two bodies. And then it goes on to say the charge shall not exceed the actual direct or indirect costs, and it kind of gives you like some guidelines on how you execute these contracts. So, for example, one thing that the police jury's always done is let the road crew go cut grass for anybody that was a political subdivision that needed it. Shane ran some numbers, and he has it divided by each community, but for the most part, cut all your libraries, you cut all your fire stations, you cut some recreation centers. Johnson Bayou has the least. We cut the public cemetery, Johnson Bayou Library, and Johnson Bayou Clinic. Hackberry substation, Head Start, library, ambulance 2 station. Klondike, Mr. Johnny, they're cutting the community center, the fire station, the Lowry fire station, Lowry Library property. And then as you look back through, it's the same thing across the board. Grand Lake, we cut probably the most, including the cemetery. So if you total all of that annually, it's about $62,300 is what it's costing our guys to cut grass at all of these places. And it's not true cost. It is just what we have listed in our work order system as like FEMA approved rates. So what FEMA does is every 2 years they give you like this table that they think that you should be allowed to charge per piece of equipment to get reimbursed through FEMA. So every lawnmower, truck, trailer, it all has a certain rate that you could charge, and then their hourly rates. So that's just one instance that we can, just by FEMA's rates alone, which is very low compared to what it probably actually costs the road and bridge, you're already giving away $62,300 annually. That's just if they cut all of these places weekly. That's what we ran the figures off of.
That's not counting spraying.
That's not counting spraying, chemicals. Yeah, we just wanted to give y'all a simple example. And anything else that they need. So also, for example, your treasurer and accounting department, they process payroll for all of these entities, with the exception of Johnson Bayou and Hackberry Rec. But pretty much everything else, your accounting department processes their payroll. So we're paying our employees to do it. We're paying for the software annually that it costs to process payroll. Anyone that gets an actual check mailed to their house, which they cut that back quite a bit, but still, I mean, we're actually paying for the envelope and the stamp and the check that's getting sent to this employee that might be for a rec district. So these are just some examples of things that we've just always historically done. And so that's what we wanted to talk to you guys about today, is maybe we are to this point where it's time to start talking to our districts and saying, if you want to execute an agreement with us, this is what we'll charge you to do your payroll. This is what we'll charge you to mow your grass. This is what we'll charge you for whatever it is services that you need throughout the year. And that way, if we make that decision today, that gives those all those other entities time to work it into their budget. If that's not something that this jury's interested in, that's okay. We just might have to change how Road and Bridge is managed. Either we're going to have to give more general fund dollars to maintain the level of services, or maybe it's time to start looking at letting some of the road crews slowly go through attrition. As people are retiring, not replacing them, maybe you don't cut grass everywhere, every week. Maybe you have to go to cutting monthly or cutting quarterly. Maybe you're tearing out your roads. Maybe some things get cut once a week, but then something else that's less traveled, maybe they only get cut once a quarter. I don't know. There's lots of things that we can do to start cutting back costs, but right now your ad valorem tax does not allow for you to spend in road and bridge the way we've been spending. So either we have to wait till 2030 and hope our 2027 when our taxes come up, but in the meantime, we're going to have to bridge the gap somewhere. That's where we are. This is a tactic that maybe we could help replace some of those revenues. And then if FEMA reimburses us at some point for the money we spent on recovery, that's going to help go back into your road and bridge budget. It's going to help you break even. But right now, every penny that, when you adopt your budget, every penny that is in the negative for road and bridge, you're automatically allocating general fund dollars to it. That's just by law. Like, you can't adopt a budget with a deficit. So every fund, it's got to come from general fund.
So how much do we have out with FEMA?
Oh, with FEMA, a few $100,000.
So that's not gonna make that much difference.
Well, no, I mean, it could, and this is just budgeting. And this is based off of estimates of how things have been managed in the last year. If we make adjustments on what we're doing in road and bridge, then you're going to save money next year. This might be the time that you say, hey, it's time to cut back. We're going to have to cut back on how often we do our shoulder repairs, or maybe we cut back on how often we cut grass, or like I said, maybe you start looking at consolidating some crews. There's lots of things that your road and bridge superintendent can do to cut his budget. He just needs your guys' support to do that.
If anything, I don't think we need to cut anything on road and bridge. We got roads, we got stripes that's all over the parish, needs to be striped. Looking at it now, once all the budget comes up, I think we should be striping roads, fixing roads, maintaining roads. That's a main priority above anything else. So my thing is, right now, how do we get past this impasse we're at? I don't think it's cutting anything from road and bridge, because that it would make the parish go round.
So if you can't afford to cut road and bridge, then we might need to look at funding other departments, like cut that budget back. Like, there are things that you're subsidizing that maybe you no longer subsidize. It could be county agent. They come and ask for their money for their 4-H programs. It could be something. What's that?
Bird festival, different.
It could be a lot of different things. You pay for copy machines for all of the offices in the square. Pretty much, we have a general lease with all that. That might be something that you want to go and talk to your elected officials about and say, hey, we can no longer cover your copy machines. Again, it takes support from you guys, though, because we can cut all day long. But if they're going to call and complain to you and then you call us, then we're not really doing anything. So we're not going to cut the budget unless we're all in agreement on how it's best to cut it. There are things that maybe on his capital outlay list right now that just might have to wait a year. Maybe there's equipment that we were planning on purchasing. It might just have to wait till we can get a grant for that. I do have a grant to talk to you guys about. It's going to be $300,000 next year. That'll help. It doesn't do you any good for this road, for this bridge, but we also have, LGAP, Community Water Enrichment, and LGAP grants. Those are some that are under your discretion. You decide where they get spent. You could start saying, we're not opening it up to all the other entities, and we're just going to put that toward road and bridge equipment. It's up to you guys, though. That's the whole point. Y'all just going to have to kind of tell us exactly where y'all want to go. But spraying chemical all the time, or doing the dust control, or maybe you don't. Maybe you sit out a year on doing shoulder repairs with the limestone. There are lots of different ways you can cut your budget just for 1 year to get through to the next year. And then if money comes in March or April, that was a PW, he can come back and say, hey, look, we got this money. I know we suspended doing this work in road and bridge, but now we got the money to do it. I'm going to go do it. But right now you got a plan to not have it. And then figure out what it is you can live without for a year, just to get us through, till we get some extra money and get some extra tax dollars coming in. Unless you want to pass another tax.
But we have all these LNG plants.
You've seen the projections, 2027 is when the first industrial tax exemption,
Which you can basically.
that the state granted, by the way, it's when it expires.
Mr. Shane, the state engineer, I know you saying that you can visually see the concrete is broken, and I'm assuming, his engineering, report, I mean, he's saying the bridge needs to be replaced.
Yes, sir. Well, I
So,
hadn't got
did
reports
he
back.
speculate on what caused this damage, or
It's old, we got a lot of old bridges,
how old is that bridge, Mr. Shane?
older than I've been here, 26 years.
So just generally speaking on this bridge, where's the funding gonna come from to fix it, if we need to fix it?
That's what we're trying to figure out.
Well, that's what I want them to answer. They're the ones nowhere. So I guess we're at an impasse, and this is what I'll say. This is only my opinion. So there's a lot of talk about consolidation and helping each other and being one parish. With this bridge, to me, this is inevitable. We're gonna have to fix it no matter what. If we can't get a grant, it can't wait. I asked my fellow jurors to take that money out of the rec fund and fix the road, and hopefully down the road we can replace it if that's a worst case scenario. Because we just spent $900,000 over there. So if
Where?
in Grand Lake for the OEC building,
Right?
not the rec. And the only 3 funds they got that's allocated to something, one's a disaster fund, which the care.
That's not the garbage, so really that don't help you at all, because you can't allocate that garbage fund to the road and bridge anyway, so
Yeah.
$1 million in there, it's not gonna make a difference.
And then the only other thing is not even 100,000, I think, for a structure that needs to be replaced that's gonna flood somebody. And the only other fundings that's been sitting there that ain't got nothing done with it is for a new rec building. And from talking with y'all, I think y'all to the point to where they need to fix what they got now, because they're waiting on FEMA, and it don't look like they're getting nowhere. So, that's my opinion and what I would ask for my fellow jurors if it come down to it.
So Kayla, that money, that's grew some interest, didn't it?
Yes.
How much interest has it gained?
Not 400,000.
No.
And while she looks for that, I mean, there's some tax reform that you could do. You could try and do some in lieu of taxes, like maybe in March, and you could say that you're authorized for garbage, say it's $6 million, but you don't ever levy the full $6 million because it's overfunded. So in lieu of that, you're gonna, if it passes, $2 million will be dedicated to road improvement only, like construction dollars to do road improvements. And the other $4 million stay dedicated to garbage. Like, you can structure your tax propositions to where they work better for you, but it has to go to, you have to call an election, that's gonna take 6 months. But you could be creative like that,
I think that's a logical approach anyways.
yeah. The only thing you can't really touch is the library tax. It's constitutionally protected. You can't really do an in lieu of meal for them, but, garbage, that's yours. Courthouse and jail, that's yours. Health unit, I mean, I understand you don't want to raise taxes on your people, so you might just want to try to do some restructuring taxes. Like, you're already authorized at 30 mil, we're just going to change how it gets out designated with this election. Or you could look at doing a sales tax.
Well, we've missed out on sales tax. We probably let billions of dollars go. Yeah. Without a sales tax.
So,
But we gotta pass one, and that's the tricky part.
64,000. Is what's the interest?
64,000.
oh yeah,
Ma'am, what'd you say?
64,000.
I'd pay for the engineering.
So, I mean, I know this can't be solved today.
No, but
But what I think you can do today is tell Shane, give him authority to start moving forward at fixing the bridge and we're committed to fixing our budget problems within the next 12 months, you know, that's something
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
you can do.
Start the permit process.
I'm gonna agree with Mr. Daigle. I think we got that money sitting there, and not saying we won't give it back, it's just saying if we need to spend that and fix that bridge, because it's very important. Use that money, and it, when we get a little bit of a surplus, we put it back. I mean, we're only borrowing from ourselves, I mean, basically.
Well, I mean, if we had some funding otherwhere, or could get the grant, or could wait, but honestly, if the state doesn't shut down one road, it's not much longer, I presume them to shut down the whole bridge. Because if it ain't that close, they would have never shut down one lane.
Believe me, they probably would have shut both lanes if there was an alternate way to get in and out of there.
On the 210, they shut down one bridge, the over bypass, the overpass, whatever, and they shut the whole thing.
Yeah.
I had to fix it. We was able to do it in-house because it was a problem. Take pictures, get an engineer to come inspect it before they were real.
Yes.
So,
When
Kayla,
I say shut down, put limestone in front of it to where nobody can cross.
Shane, when you're talking about this was gonna take culverts, y'all fixed that gully behind me in-house with that 9-foot culvert.
Yeah, well, we had a bottom and we had a second route there. I took,
I know, I was just asking, so you don't think you can handle that, maybe not tearing the bridge out, but you could handle it in-house?
Price, you can't do it.
with the price you can, because it's, I mean, it's over
Oh,
$250,000.
so you couldn't do it in-house?
Legally, no.
Legally, you gotta bid out.
Even with our labor, our labor is included in
And you
it.
gotta rent equipment.
I don't know what your grant writing capacity or timeline on this is, but I just did a quick search on grants.gov. I used to be a local political seat when I lived in New Jersey, so I have some familiarity with getting funds to be used locally, but the Restore Act Direct Component Construction Grant provides Gulf states only, so a smaller pool to choose from, up to 120 million for construction projects in port communities. And I think this bridge might be able to fall under that. So if you want me to give the number of that grant to one of you, and it might be something to look into.
I think we may be looking into that one already, huh?
Is that the same grant we already have?
Restore?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have, yeah.
There's a lot of grants that we can apply for. The problem with most, and not most now, all federal grants and state grants is you have to have the grant approve it, then give you a notice to proceed before construction activities start.
We can't
And-
wait that
Can't
long.
do it after the fact, no.
Gotcha.
So, Kayla, our hurricane fund is $1 million.
The disaster recovery, that is in the garbage, that's reserved out of garbage.
And utilize it.
Can't utilize it for anything outside of garbage,
So it's only for cleaning up garbage.
debris pickup and stuff like that.
There also was a grant that just passed. It was only available to local governments, not NGOs. It was $600,000 for fisherman-led garbage cleanup programs along the coast. And maybe there's opportunities in the future to work with y'all so we can get grants and free up some of your budget too.
So what I can say is if you guys will give us, if you want to evoke your right, that's allowed to charge admin services when you do work for other entities, it's gonna benefit Road and Bridge budget the most. That is something we can start doing and working with all of these entities that we cut grass for. And you know what? They might not want us to do it anymore. They might just want to go hire their own contractor. But less that he has to take care of, it might be less wear and tear on his equipment. He might even be able to cut out some equipment. Might be less Road and Bridge employees in the future. I don't know. There's a lot of ifs that we could look at. If we're cutting back on his workload, then he might can reassess on what he does.
More on cleaning culverts.
I believe that,
Right.
and I believe the library is looking into potentially cutting their own grass.
I mean, that's what we did. I mean, I did that as soon as I got into office. I started, I mean, library is taking care of their own now. Fire department's taking care of their own now. Head Start, I don't know their financial deal. Sounds like it's kinda, I guess it's one we can look into.
That's a state funded.
Yeah. But, I mean, I tried to take that approach anyways, cause I wanted the guys to focus more on what they're there for.
So, Mr. Shane, getting back to our bridge, what's your take, and Caleb, what's your take on the funds on it? Just because it's in my area and it's a bridge, it might affect some residents, I'm pretty concerned over it, so.
It's gotta be done.
Yeah.
We have no choice.
And
I mean,
there's
wait.
no funding we got right now to pay for that, correct?
What are you projected to close?
So-
the year with? Road and bridge,
There goes your wish list, Shane. There goes your wish list.
No equipment for you.
I'd rather see a bridge than equipment, I mean, you know.
No, I understand. I'm concerned. I believe it was either Hackberry or Johnson Bayou doesn't have a slope mower at all. I don't remember which
But
one.
that's no
Road Bridge
big
is
deal. I mean, we
$397.
share over there anyways. I mean, I had one of Johnson Bayou's tractors last week.
projected fund balance.
That's not, it wasn't no good die.
All the way to the left.
Yeah.
I know.
Projected
Need
fund
this
balance.
too.
I guess I'll shoot my shot here in a second.
Column over one more. No, because that's the end of 2025. Look at the beginning of 2025.
It's getting fixed, Mark.
It's $397,000.
You know, fix your bridge.
So, I mean,
Yeah, but with what money?
this year you could use what you're expecting. It's just,
Well,
at some point over 2025, you're gonna have to cut.
Yes.
I mean, you're projected to close this year with $397,000, which is enough to get things started. And then, but you're committing to, over the course of 2025, you're gonna have to figure out a way to cut back on $900,000. Well, $595,000.
Shane and I, when we did the budget, we could be, you know, over budgeting some stuff. It's just we taking, in effect, like limestone, we're projecting it going up. Like there's a lot of stuff we project. Fuel, there's, let me get to theirs.
But I think all that's logical. I mean,
Yeah, so like some of, I'm not saying they're gonna end. It could get better. We just
Yeah,
budget it.
might have to
Pretty
cut
hard.
your dust control.
Dust control.
Shane, in
For a
that
year, I
money,
don't
was this stuff you want, these new tractors and all that, in that budget or
No,
not?
I have not put any of that
Not
in
yet,
here.
So if we wipe that out, that's not gonna help. If we bring it on, it'll just be worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right now, y'all needing a motion to start, or we needing a motion to start and know where the funds are coming from?
Permit, that way we can get the permit started, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause it- yeah.
What about the funds? Do we need
He's
to,
trying to do it as emergency permit, that way we can move it on, but
yeah, but just say you do an emergency permit, say 2 weeks from now, you ready to go. We got the funds? Okay.
I mean,
I make a
if
motion.
you allocate them,
Let's just get the permit right now, and when Sam gets back, we gotta talk about it. I mean,
There's no, I mean, y'all, okay.
We
Well, I
can
mean,
do a couple
if
of
he,
them, but
the thing that he does is if you're allocating that to him to do the bridge, then if something comes up and somebody wants it, he's gonna say, no, I don't have it in my budget, you're gonna have to wait, sorry.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
So-
something like that, you know?
I'll make a motion to utilize the rec fund in Grand Lake only for the cost of the bridge with the stipulations that if and when we can afford to pay it back, we replace it, just so that if it does come back, that we could start on it, we don't have the funds to do so. And looking at the only funds we got, that's, to me, that's the only logic reasoning behind it.
I'm not doing nothing right now till we figure this out.
That's just my motion.
So how long are we anticipating the process here for the permit?
it says it could be up to 120 days, I mean, we don't know.
All right, 120 days,
Put us into next year?
that's 4 months.
But he's gonna try and do it as an emergency to get it, you know, quick as he can.
but if we do the permit and the engineering, we don't have to bid it out, right?
And look,
We could
guys,
wait
if it
for
goes
that.
into next year and we got the funds
Yeah.
for it, it's not gonna come
Give
from.
them the
from
authority to do the permitting and get the stuff, and then we'll wait to bid it out, I say.
Well, it has to come back to you.
Yeah, it has to come back to you anyway.
Right.
So we.
Okay, I'm making a motion to proceed on the project.
Okay, hold on, there's a motion on the floor from Mark.
Yep.
To utilize rec funds from the Grand Lake Rec to repair bridge and the bridge and pay back when funds allow. Is there a second? Okay, so that
Motion
motion.
by Mr. Moore.
hang on a second, hang on, I'm still looking to see if we got the money somewhere.
No.
And I mean,
It's okay.
also, as people start
Okay.
retiring, maybe
Only
just not
about that
replace them right
money's
away.
for the rec.
Well, I understand that.
But you have some right
But if we
now.
need that to go forward, that's a no-brainer. The money's sitting there, it's coming out of general fund anyway. Come out of general fund, set aside.
You wanna second it?
I'll second it. And we have to-
Motion by Mr. Mark, second by Mr. Sonny. All in favor?
Aye. Nay.
Okay, let's do a roll call, hold on.
I don't think it's time to do that, but,
To do what?
to actually move on the monies. I would rather move on the permit.
It's all on, here's the thing, she's gotta have something to balance the books with to go forward. It's a regulation by law that we have to do it. So we have to have the money committed, and that's all we're doing is committing the money. We ain't spending it. It's gonna be wild, and we can change our mind and possibly get money somewhere else. But to go forward with the budget, we have to have it balanced.
Just say, come next year, some funds come up, we could make a new motion not to utilize that fund and utilize a different fund. But to move forward, like I was asking them, we could give them the motion to move forward, but what funds are paying for it? You have nothing backing it.
Well, I'd rather wait till Sam's here, as we do it as a group, or we have a special meeting.
Or we can do it before. the
Period.
meeting, like
How long do you have before you gotta have this finished?
Y'all adopt the budget in December, so we can do a morning budget meeting in the December.
Yeah.
The day, like, we'll do it at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. That's before y'all's 10 o'clock meeting.
I suspect it's gonna, he's saying 120, Ms. Kara's saying it probably will be expedited, so maybe 60 days?
Wait, just, if y'all can just, how about you guys, keep this food for thought, and let's get through the rest of the budget meeting, cause there's some other grants that you would vote to dedicate to this project.
Right. We
So that might
have a
help.
motion on the floor, though, we gotta vote it down.
We have a motion and a second on the floor.
Yep.
Can we rescind it with a motion and a second, or we have to
Yeah.
vote it down?
I'm nay.
Because we voted, hold on a second, before we, if we vote it down, then we have a problem bringing it back up. Am I correct? As long as one of y'all had to bring it back up.
Somebody else that may,
One of anybody that
you
says,
or Mark cannot bring it back up.
Right.
One of the other ones would have to bring it back up if it was voted down today.
we can't.
Look
We
here.
got the motion made
You
second.
can rescind the
You
motion.
can rescind the motion.
Mark would have to rescind.
And you said we got another month?
Yeah, December, you vote on it December in your voting meeting, so if y'all want, we can do it that morning meeting, we can have another budget meeting just like this. And we might have more information by then too.
All right.
Just give authority to.
But I
start
would
the
give
permit
authority for
process.
him to at least start the
Start the
permits.
permit, that's.
Yeah.
So you can amend that motion to just
And
start the
A,
permit
yes.
process. If you wanna do that.
I don't wanna do it, but for the greater good, I'll rescind the motion.
Just, Mary,
Well, we gonna vote it down?
he can just change it, right?
It's
He can
done, you
rescind it
rescinded.
or
I'll
amend it.
rescind it.
Amended, I mean.
But like I said, everything comes with a price. So I'll rescind the motion, and we live and we learn.
I need a second to rescind.
What's that mean? So, got a motion by Mr. Mark to rescind, second by Mr. Sonny. All in favor? Motion carries.
Now we need a motion
I-
to
I
move
make-
forward with the permit.
I make a motion to give Ms. Shane authority to proceed with the permitting process for this project.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Michael, second by Mr. Mark. Oh, Mr. Johnny.
Permitting
gonna take-
process for
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, so how do you guys feel about, what's that? No, that's okay. How do you guys feel about what we talked about? Are y'all ready to try to give the staff the authority to negotiate service contracts with these entities for a price and effective January 1st? If they don't negotiate a contract with us, then we don't provide services to them? Or are y'all not there yet? Are y'all ready?
What kind of savings are we talking about here? What dollars?
We ran it for the grass, and it's 62,300 estimate annually that would save Road and Bridge. If you did, if you wanted to extend that to doing the accounting services, payroll, and paying bills and all that, it could be up to 4% of their total revenues, based off of actual costs. So when we would bill the entities for their payroll, it would have a little service charge at the bottom of it.
Any idea of what that would generate?
Oh, it's gonna be, what's your total, district bills in a year? I mean, it could be it could be close to $100,000 in the accounting department. That, it could be more, based off if you're using their up to 4% of total revenues, it could be more, but I think, what we would negotiate is we would actually run, a report on how much time is actually taken in payroll and how much materials we're actually paying for these districts. And it's not just payroll, it's paying for people's bills, like the library, for example. We pay all of their bills. They'll have 50 invoices a month we're processing payment for. We could be charging an admin fee on that and take it out of the library's budget instead of taking it out of your general fund budget. There's all costs associated in everything we do right now for all entities.
I think a big part of it is the time it takes the road and bridge to deal with a lot of these. You know, we're already short-handed, basically. I know Mr. Michael was asking. I know in Grand Lake, we are often short-handed. I'm sure there's about across the parish where we're spending a lot of time.
Start not cutting the roads, not gonna be pretty.
I
Right.
don't think that's the option.
We done backed off about all we can back off. That's why we're in trouble now.
I mean, you have these districts that have their own property tax that are, instead of using their tax monies, the police jury is using their general fund money to pay to do service for all of these other entities that get to keep their tax dollars for stuff. So, I mean, and we're not talking about charging people because, like, at Agreed, it's like we're actually spending money and they're getting to save money for the service. So it's just talking about a fair exchange.
It'd be nice if it would generate $500,000, but $100,000.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right, Kayla just made a point. We just spent $30,000 on a new payroll system just so we didn't have to maintain a high level staff that, all of these entities are gonna be the beneficiary of.
And
We paid for it,
We paid for that.
yeah.
Yeah, I think we should. I mean, I think we should.
Does most of these
No,
entities
I don't
have the money that it won't hurt them? I mean, we gonna rob Peter to pay Paul?
No,
Or
you're not-
they'll be okay, they just won't have quite as much money?
and now, it doesn't mean that they have to use us if they think we're too expensive.
And they go somewhere else?
They can go hire someone else to cut their grass, or they can go hire their own contractor to process their payroll and their accounting records for them. They can hire a staff to handle it for them. They're not bound to have, they have a choice. If the board doesn't want to pay the jury, they can pay a third party to do that.
I think it's logical. It's just straight up accounting is all it is.
It is, it's just accounting. And it's not even just about entities too. It's, it's your libraries, it's your fire districts, your waterwork districts would do their payroll. They have employees, but they can get away with only one employee in their office because we have the 4 that handle all of the accounting transactions for them. So, I mean, It's just an idea. It's not anything new. This is something that's done across the state with every police jury and political subdivision. We've just never done it before. It's never been something that has been ever really been considered or discussed amongst the jury. This is just one of those. If we're trying to cut back our budget, it's an option I'm bringing to you guys.
Okay,
You can say
I
no.
know the
Are you
library.
ready? Are you ready? Do you have your letter written? Are you
She's
ready?
talking
No,
about
No, I mean,
making
if
it
that's-
January 1st.
If y'all want to proceed with that, then we would be having meetings with them and telling them, look, we're going to start billing you January 1st. This is how we would bill you. If you don't want to pay us, then you might need to look for someone else.
All right, Mr. President, I make a motion to move forward with this.
Got a motion by Mr. Sonny,
Second.
second by Mr. Danny. All in favor?
And,
Motion carries.
and just to give you guys a response to the public, what they need to keep in mind is the only money that you have that's unrestricted, that you can spend however you want, is that general fund money. And so by asking these entities to carry their small percentage share of the cost, that's going to free up your general fund money so you can put it to covering road and bridge deficits to pave everybody a road, or maybe you need to dedicate it to coastal protection or breakwaters. So that's why you're doing this. It's,
And that is their, part of their operating budget, you know.
yes.
I know the library, we talked about it in the library meeting, and it sounded like most of the board members was almost excited to have somebody else mowing their grass, so, I know,
Right.
they'll have to decide that, and along with Ms. Joe Lee.
Yeah, and you can take into consideration, like the fire department bought their own lawnmower, so
Right.
there's more than one way to do those kind of.
They can do it a lot cheaper than we can, probably.
Absolutely.
Just with the new accounting software, the new payroll, that's gonna help, so like Shane, if his guys go to the dump and they just do an hour of work, Road and Bridge usually just pays that, cause it's too much hassle on the way we do our timesheets now to separate it. But with the new software, they can put where they're going each hour, so that automatically will charge the dump instead of Road and Bridge.
What about when they go and smash the compactors? and-
Yes, anything they do for the dump,
Are
they
we-
put on their time in and a timeout that they're at the dump, and it's getting charged.
That's a
for-
7
Are we
hour
tracking,
project
are we
right
tracking
there.
that now? Are we tracking it now?
Not, it's not long enough
That's
for
some
them
money
to
that can
do
come
it.
to us.
It's
I
too
mean,
much
that's
on the
money
time,
that
the way we
they-
do our time sheets now, it's a hassle.
New
You have to do a
system.
work order for just
A
that hour.
new system will pay dividends in 1 year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
1 year.
It's gonna help big time.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the grants that I was talking about. Every year, the legislator makes available to each parish what they call a local government assistance to the grant, local government assistance grant program to the parishes. They also have something called a community water enrichment fund. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time right now on community water enrichment fund because it's very restricted. It has to go toward water improvement type projects. Like you only can do like distribution lines or storage tanks. Very limited what you can use that for.
Hey, Katie, not to bog you down, but for that right there, can you use it to buy property for a well site?
Yes,
You can?
yes.
Yeah, might talk to you about that later.
Just can't really, two things that you really cannot do is you cannot buy generators and you cannot do fire hydrant replacements with it. That's about the two big things that you can't do. But anything else, if it's to benefit the water in a community, water meters, that sort of stuff, it's eligible. But what I really want to talk about is the LGAP one because it's actually open to anything. It can be used for water reasons, but then it also can be used to buy equipment. So right now we have a $150,000 grant that we have that just came in. I applied for it a year ago. What the grant was written for was to purchase a drone for LiDAR, like a LiDAR drone, and some equipment for road and bridge. You can amend that application if you want with a majority vote and ask to dedicate it to the bridge if you want to. It can go to doing A&E fees, permitting, and construction costs. That is done pretty quick. I mean, it'll take probably 30 days to get that amendment processed and approved. So that is something that is up for you guys to consider if you want to help redirect those grant funds, you can. And then it's time to do the application for next year, which next year it's actually gonna be $350,000. So you'll have a 350 for community water enrichment, and then I think it's 300 actually for, the LGAP.
So when does that 300 get?
So that's the thing. We're gonna decide how we're gonna apply for the funds for this 300, 350 today. You won't get contracts maybe 15 months from now. So the bridge will probably be done by then. So I don't think that this 300, well, we could go ahead and write it, and hopefully we can stretch the bridge for another year, but the likelihood of being able to is not, it's pretty, I'd rather you guys consider it. for-
More logical approach would be try to cue that in for equipment purchase like we were talking.
The 300,
Yeah,
yes.
the money from a grant before you start.
Yeah. So, and I just kind of want to talk to you about the application process. We've done it several different ways. Each jury has done it differently. Sometimes the jury, they like to say they have 4 years, and so they all take a turn. 2 drawers at a time. 1 year, these 2 drawers split the allocation. The next year, these 2 drawers split the allocation, and they've done that before. A few jurors ago, and currently, it's been put it all to Road and Bridge, whatever Road and Bridge wants. So I think he's paved a road before. Well, Emily was here at the time. They blacktopped a road. They buy equipment with LGAP. Community water enrichment, it's been opened up to the water work secretaries, where we email all of them and we say, hey, here's the grant application. Y'all submit us the grant, what you want to use it for by a certain day, and we'll submit it on your behalf. And so that's kind of how it's been working lately. And community water enrichment, it's been pretty fair across the board. I think the most recent one, Johnson Bayou Fire, they've bought like $40,000 worth of water meters. Hackberry, same thing. Grand Lake's doing a new ground storage tank. So next year, which the applications are due in February, we need you guys to decide how you want to administer these grants. Do you want to open it up for applications and y'all vote on it? Do you want us to just let the staff decide what takes priority and we'll do it? It's up to you guys. But we have LGAP and we have community water enrichment. And you don't have to vote today on who gets what, but I do need you to provide some direction on how you would like us to handle this, because we have till February 1st to submit the applications, and so I need that much time to work with the water secretaries on their projects and get it in time.
You can't use it for anything but water.
Community water enrichment is water. LGAP can be anything.
I say the LGAP, make it the equipment we're talking about. Some of the
For Elm Road and Ridge.
You can make LGAP available for water use too. It's up to you guys. So do you want
Is that
us?
again, Katie?
You can use LGAP for
LGAP?
water use.
300?
300 is LGAP. 350 is community water enrichment.
I say y'all, the staff will work with the water departments, because we can't use it for anything else on that, water enrichment. The other one, I think, should go to Road and Bridge.
So do you want to open the water applications though to everyone and y'all score them on what takes priority? Or do you want to come up with a fair number across all 5 water districts?
We can score. I don't have a problem with that. If there's somebody has a more dire need, and spend the money where it needs to be spent.
Yeah, I think Sonny's right.
We're good with that.
All right, so I will send out an email to water secretaries and tell them that they can apply for the full amount, and you guys can score it based off of that. Okay. So LGAP for next year, y'all want to do it, continue the trend of giving it to Road and Bridge for equipment? Okay.
Or can it go to fix their
This application, probably not, but I do think that you could redirect the 150 if you want to. You have time to do that before next month, if that's what you want to do. But sorry, I kind of threw a bunch at y'all. So I got community water enrichment clear. LGAP application, y'all want just to let Shane pick what he needs for that application? Equipment,
Yeah, I don't see why not.
it's 300?
I'm good with that.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
anything extra we can get to fix the, you know, we're spending on road and bridge would be great.
Okay.
Now Shane has to be nice to all of us.
So back to the current grant, which is $150,000. Right now, it is designated for buying some equipment for road and bridge. Do you want to redirect that to this bridge?
Yes.
Okay, I got a question for you. You ready?
Yes.
You might want to sit down.
I'd rather stand
Okay,
so I can run.
all right. Have you got the money back from the water consolidation?
We got authority from the board to submit the the reimbursement form. Yes, we've got the authority, but we don't have the cash yet.
Okay, and that's 700,000?
Something like that. It might be.
When do we,
I don't know the bottom line, but
Could
close.
that be used for that?
When we get that money back, it goes into our general fund, and you can use it, the general fund dollars.
That's a possibility.
Yes.
Okay, the next thing is, it could be a month, it could be 4 months before that comes in? Or is it, do they have it already and just haven't given it?
No, they don't have it yet. We have to do the, what they call request for reimbursement form. And I gotta get all of the invoices together, and Cameron Board's gotta sign the form and get it submitted. It probably take around 90 days, give or take.
So are we gonna need
Maybe as long as
money?
the permit, maybe about as long as the permit process.
Very possible.
Okay, second thing, don't you still have some money left over from that COVID deal from 2019 or 20 that you took part of the money for that project? Don't you still have?
The ARP funds?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's what that 700,000 is gonna be.
Well, I thought there was, and
It's twice that.
I didn't see numbers, I just.
Yeah, we need to.
You had
she's
about
gonna have to run a
1.2,
report.
1.3 there.
It
You
was
should have 5 or 6 left over.
one. She's gonna have to pull up her budget.
Next question on that same subject, can you use some of that for, the new system, timekeeping and everything? I thought we talked about this before, but
It all goes in the general fund, so general fund's general fund, so you don't have to line item out your general
what's
fund.
left in that account, you can't, it doesn't go straight towards the general fund. I think there's specifics,
Yeah,
and I'm
Yes.
asking you, is the timekeeping, I thought that type of stuff was, you could use it for. So we just need to make sure maybe we could use it.
yeah. Yeah, we can look, but I think you're looking at your budget. It was 2 installments. You got half in year 1, and then the year 2, you got the rest of it. And it got classed at that point, the law changed, and you can go to general fund, considered lost revenues. And so, but that was in a budget 2 years ago. So it's just kind of like in the slush
So
fund.
you should have 500, 600,000 possibly left in some account somewhere that money come from.
No,
It was 1.2.
it was 1.2, I think.
Okay, if you
is
have
what it is.
1.2 and you use 7, that's 500,000 left, right?
Yeah, well,
No.
it's 1.3.
Okay,
How much is it?
1.3.
1,354, 424.
Yeah, that's your COVID money. So
And you use 700 on the water consolidation.
we used, to get to A&E through basic design, that was the COVID money that we used to flush, to get it all the way to bid. That was submitted, that was COVID money. Now, everything after that, which is your construction costs, which is like your oversight, your project management fees and everything, that is what is gonna be submitted through the waterworks to the grant for reimbursement, because that was construction activities. So that's about $700,000. The initial one, which in year 1 was the COVID money, that only could be used for water stuff, that was to get it to design. Now, that's not gonna be reimbursed, that A&E. That was the allocation to the water district. Everything else, the 700,000, it might be 800, with 1.3 minus,
They had
wherever they're at.
3 million
It came in two
to use only for water projects?
It came in 2 tranches, though.
Yep, so
You had year 1, and then you had to turn around and apply for it for year 2.
And you use both of them already? There's none sitting in an account?
Nope.
Do you have any of it?
First 500,000 they spent, not gonna be reimbursed.
Right.
Second portion, 700,000, gonna be reimbursed.
Yeah, and it's gonna be a little more than 7. I think they were up to, but after it's all broken down, it's gonna probably be 8.
700,000 plus the 150,000 should square us off on general fund enough to pay for the bridge and still have our head above water.
I thought we had that left.
Yeah,
And then we can buy for projects as they come up after in January.
yeah, but your COVID budget, your ARP funds, it's in 2 tranches and it was in 2 different budget years. So it's not gonna show up in this because it's already been budgeted and closed into your financial closure account. So right now, it's just sitting in your undesignated, fund balance, opening balance,
much is it?
that's where it's at now.
How much is it?
What's that?
What you just said, how much money is it?
What the,
In the
Said
undesignated,
floating over here in this,
well, the first year was $660-something thousand, and then year 2 it was the exact same amount.
and it's still there.
No, we spent,
Oh,
what we got left out of the
No,
1.3 billion that you got?
nothing, we're getting reimbursed, yeah.
You spent the whole thing.
It's all out right now. We're getting reimbursed for the 700,000.
I'm talking about what
So
you
it was
done
just
spent.
No,
700,000 now.
we did these TVs, we redone.
We did
this room,
stuff.
That was like almost 200,000, we all got new laptops,
Okay,
work from
so
home.
you spent the whole thing.
Yes.
It's gone.
Yes,
Yeah.
in a prior budget year.
You waiting on half of it to come back.
Yes.
Okay, now we get some.
0.
Which that was all done year 1. Yeah, sorry.
Man.
The LGAP grant.
So, LGAP, are y'all changing, redirecting LGAP money, 150,000
Yes.
to the bridge?
We need to make a motion on that?
Yes, because it's gonna be an amendment request
We have to put it to
I
the bridge
make-
or to the road and bridge.
No, it.
to the bridge.
But I'm
All
gonna
right,
do it
folks.
To the bridge on Carl McCall.
She don't have to move her budget. I'm asking for permission from you to request an amendment with the grant, and it has to be to a project.
I make a motion to have an amendment to your grant
To the Carl McCall Bridge.
to Carl McCall Bridge,
$50,000.
$150,000.
And then we will come back in either December or January with the applications from water for consideration, for y'all to score.
Okay, so Michael Poole,
Second.
second on the Carl McCall Bridge money.
I second it.
Yeah. Got a motion by Mr. Michael, second by Mr. Johnny. All in favor? Motion carries.
Okay.
Okay, the last time I was here, y'all asked, we were talking about Jeff Davis Water now, the allocation that they requested, and y'all tabled it the last budget meeting, pending answers to a few questions. I talked to their secretary, and what she said was Cameron Residential and Jeff Davis Residential units pay the same monthly rate of $15, but but when we talked about how it drilled down, per 1,000 gallons, there is $1 difference. So when your Cameron Parish people and your Jeff Davis people are looking at their bill, they're both paying that minimum $15, but Cameron's actually paying $1 more per 1,000 gallons than the Jeff Davis people are. And Calcasieu is paying, their minimum is $17, but they're paying the same as Cameron. So basically, Cameron and Calcasieu are paying $4.55 per 1,000 gallons. Jeff Davis is only paying $3.55 per 1,000 gallons. The second question was how many people, what's the breakdown of customers? Total customers, 3,248. 70 of those are Cameron, 425 are Calcasieu, 2,735 are Jeff Davis.
Yeah, I think that was a out of kindness contribution there, is what we was talking about.
They're asking, they got a capital outlay grant, and they're asking for help or assistance covering their match, which was 25%, which the total amount that Calcasieu gave was $300,000, and the total amount that Jeff Davis is, the total amount of the match is $810,000. So $810,000 minus Calcasieu's $300,000, so right now, they're ponying up 510,000. And they want us to contribute something to help cover their 510,000. Somewhere along the way, they got $100,000 idea in their head that they were gonna ask us for. They never actually came and asked us for it. So really, it's up to you guys, how much you wanna allocate, if anything at all. This would come out of your general fund.
What we want to and what we can do is two different things.
Well, that's what I'm thinking too.
I mean, I would love to say 70,000, but unfortunately, I don't think we're there. You said 7,000. I mean, seven.
How many
70
residents?
customers.
You only
Seventy
had 70,
customers.
right?
How many residents, Cameron Parish, you said?
70.
Yeah, Davis was 2,000 and.
2,700.
Calcasieu was,
425.
yeah.
Let me get my phone, I can break
Give
down.
us some quick math on that.
Yeah, what's,
What's a fair share?
They actually had, how many people did we count when we did the trash cans contract? 50-some of them. We didn't do Klondike. I mean, not Klondike, I'm sorry. At Gary's Land. I would say about in the 50s. Was that many residents? I'm trying.
All along,
They gave 300,000.
I could probably pull my count.
No, I was just curious as whether they're getting 7 residents in the lottery.
You got more
Yeah.
counts than you got residents.
so if we gave
All
the
the
same
areas
amount,
I need just the time.
that'd be 50 grand.
There, you still only have,
You got Miss Gary, which you need there, the one who passed away, but then you got her daughter that works in the door. I'd say maybe 5 or 6 there. Permanent residents.
I don't think you have that.
18.
They say 7.
Mainly counts.
Yeah. So Mary just did the math for you guys, and if you pay the same rate that Calcasieu paid per user, it would be more like $50,000.
Yeah, because there's not that 70 residents that I know of over there, other than camps, it's not Cameron residents.
Okay.
I mean, you have your biggest,
They're still paying taxes.
How many is the house count? Do you remember?
well, he said, I think it was around 50, and I,
50,
45 or 50.
Look, they got more counts than they got residents.
Yeah, so that would be, the same rate would be $37,500 if you paid for 50 residents.
Is that something that has to come out of this year's budget or next year's budget?
This year's. I think they need it.
Can't use none of that water grant money for that?
I,
They ain't got none left.
no,
We ain't even offered it to them yet.
well, because it's really out of our jurisdiction.
Has to be well, it has to be a project.
Yeah, well, the project's not taking place in Cameron. It's just benefiting users of Cameron. So you could maybe go pay for the water meters at those places, but you can't just give them a grant allocation to construct a project in Jeff Davis Parish.
I knew the answer, I wasn't.
And it'll have to come out of the general fund.
Yes, sir.
We need to bump that up. General fund.
So if the answer is no, somebody needs to make a motion to say no. If the answer is yeah, I mean,
What do you think?
What do you think, Mr. Johnny? Wanna go whatever you say?
Do you want water or not?
I don't get that waterfall.
Uh-oh,
Oh, come on.
but your people does. Okay.
Okay.
I would budget the way it is, 100,000 is out of the question. I would go maybe half that,
Make a motion.
would be 50,000.
Is that a motion?
so a motion.
And then we offer them 50,000 for our end of the deal.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Johnny, second by Mr. Danny. All in favor?
Ah.
Motion carries.
Okay, Miss Kathy will be happy. let's see.
Yeah, I broke off.
Goes your new tires, Miss Robin, on your truck.
Mr. Sonny?
Yeah.
I do have something else, but
I'm gonna bring it up. I need, authorization to put on the, budget for a survey of a road in Hollow Beach. And the reason we're asking for that is that when Egret Street was destroyed by the hurricane, FEMA came back and rebuilt it, and we don't think it's in the right place. Okay, from what I understand, the water line's underneath the bottom of it. I wanna go to my water department and say, I want you to lay a new water line, but before we do that, we gotta make sure the road is in our right of way. We're in our right of way. So I'd like to get the road survey, and that's what I'm asking for. I don't even know what that might cost. Shane, you got any idea?
Shane, you got a call?
Sir?
You got any idea what it cost to survey this?
No, sir. I need approval first. From the jury.
Yeah, so he's talking about minor,
Yeah, it shouldn't be that much.
that change.
I think,
based off of the last bills, I mean, it's gonna be less than 15,000.
yeah, I was gonna say 10.
Could be somewhere between 7 and
What you
15.
jumping back in your seat for?
But-
I mean, this is survey, what's the state?
No, the last one we just did was
Make a motion.
Jetty
I made
Beach,
a- I made a motion.
Rutherford Beach.
Motion by Mr. Sonny,
So it's allocate funds to survey egret.
second by Mr. Michael.
Second.
All in favor?
Survey
Motion carries.
All right, that's gonna free me up. I gotta do two things. I gotta go hit my water department and my drainage department.
Well, no matter what.
I just come dig the ditch and have the water department lay up a new line.
So where do they think the lines are now?
Under the road, right in the middle of the road, from what I understand.
They didn't give an amount, but they gave them approval. It won't be over 15.
Our stuff, or they gotta move the road?
Not sure. We're gonna survey it, see where we come out at. But my point being is, if we're not in our right of way, we're taking liability. Could be taking liability. I think anything that needs to be moved, we can move ourselves in-house, as far as the road portion of it, because it's a gravel road.
Yeah, we can roll the road though, because there ain't no ditch.
Gravel road.
But we gotta know where to put it. That's all I'm saying.
So we just need a survey.
Some ditches.
Seemed like there'd be some existing, there should have been an existing survey.
It was culverts and everything. But look, I'm gonna tell you something about a survey in Hollow Beach. Lonnie Harper has been our surveyor for years and years, and he surveyed Hollow Beach. Ain't another surveyor ever come up with the same thing Lonnie does, and Lonnie's was the one that we went by. So, I don't know nothing about surveying. I don't know how you get to one end to another. All I know is that it needs to be surveyed so we don't get sued.
Yes, sir. All right, Mr. Shane, there you go.
That's okay. Okay, I do have something to talk about, you guys, but I need to make sure that we're done with budget requests before we go on. Just because it's kind of a different topic.
We'd like
Is
to
there anything
request,
else?
but we know there's
I
no
think
money.
I think Miss Robin has something, maybe. Do you have something?
No, I don't.
Oh. Okay. So
You
y'all
want to
ready?
increase your budget, Miss Robin?
I think I'm good for now.
Okay.
We can start doing like the federal government. It's like 34 trillion and just keep on spending. I mean,
Okay, Miss Katie. sorry
Okay,
about that.
so, disaster CDBG funds. We got allocated $10 million of disaster CDBG grant funds. And what they do is, the first step is you have to develop what they call, just a project application, pre-application. So the jury at the time, which was the last group at the end of their term, they had a bunch of little town hall meetings. They call it citizen participation meetings. Citizens came in, they provided comment on the projects that they would like to see implemented, and the jury voted to accept all of those projects. Then that gets turned into the state for review. The state reviewed it, and they've decided that all of your projects actually qualify. So they gave us authority to go to full project application, which is a great thing. But what we need to do now is, now that we have to go through full application, you have to take your cost estimates and you have to break down your budget. So some of your projects, your cost estimates I'm going to give you, depending on how much you want to dedicate to each project, is going to determine which ones are going to be considered primary projects and which ones are going to be considered alternate projects. So that's what I'm here to talk to you guys about today. I need you guys to set your budget on which projects you're going to fund. And I just got this email to me, and if you just, let me see. Project 1 was the commercial fishing dock. Y'all already voted last month to withdraw that project. That was budgeted at $2 million. So right now we're already ahead $2 million. We have a flood alert system, which is $1.5 million. Holly Beach Fishing Pier, $3.5 million. Cameron Sewer upgrades was on the list for $1 million. Pump station elevation, $1 million. Then you had your shoreline protection designated at $1.5 million. But your shoreline protection, and it's my recommendation that you list it like as a primary, but you don't start construction yet, and that's kind of like your catch-all. You could set your budget pretty low, and then any unused funds, so if you fund all of these other projects and you're left with like $1 million, you have to turn around and spend it or it goes back to the federal government. So it's easy to just take any residual funds and put it toward breakwaters because you know that it's gonna get spent for approved use. You don't want to turn around and then give it to a different parish because we didn't use it in time. So we use our shoreline protection as like our catch-all, just to balance our budget. There were 2 projects that were initially listed as alternate projects that now are going to qualify as a primary project. Number 1 was the 911 call center relocation, which is the sheriff has been talking about wanting to relocate his dispatchers from here to Grand Lake. It's very expensive, as you can imagine, to move that tower and everything. So it's listed at $1.5 million. And then parish-wide LiDAR survey, which is where they do the aerials. They take all LiDAR data and it gets turned into the assessor's office and gets populated and uploaded into their database. That was estimated at $500,000. So these are the projects that I kind of want to talk to you guys about. We have to submit the full applications November 30th. So I don't know if you guys are ready to vote on all of it. Do you want to submit and make all of them primary projects? Or are there some projects that you right now know that you want to cut, that you don't want to fund, you want us to withdraw the application? Or do you want to list it as an alternate in case there's leftover money? Those are kind of your 2 questions. Right now, all of them, there's enough in the budget for all your projects except, actually, no, for all your projects now, based off of this cost estimate. But again, if there's something that you know that you're not going to fund and you want to withdraw that project and you want to take that money and put it on a different project, we can do that. But we're going to have to submit the full applications with a resolution saying these are your projects by November 30th.
You said different project, in like what?
It has to be one of the projects that I've told you. These are the only ones that are pre-approved. But because you withdrew your commercial fishing dock, which is your public docks for the shrimpers, that was $2 million. So now, because that was $2 million, your alternate projects that equal $2 million, now you have enough money to fund those $2 million. So do you want to just move those alternates up and do the full applications? Or do you want to keep these as alternates and take that $2 million and put it toward shoreline protection? Or maybe you want to put it toward pump station elevations?
Don't you already have the coastline protection in there?
Yes, 1.5 million is your shoreline.
Yeah, I just say moving forward.
Do you want to move forward parish-wide LiDAR survey, $500,000 as a full project? Yes or no?
That's from the tax assessor standpoint?
Yes.
Yes.
No, I think that'd be valuable.
Tax assessor really wanted it.
Hey,
And the permit could use it.
So when you talk about fishing piers, can we, I mean, is that like, it has to be a pier, or can it be like we
Bridge.
were talking about?
Can it be a bridge?
Actually having the paved rock and the.
This grant can't pay for that.
Hey, boys, I'll just back the hell off.
No,
So,
I mean, you
these-
kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I mean, you make a fishing deal and you make a water.
No, I know, but these projects
Are locked and loaded.
are locked in. The
Yeah.
only thing you can change is the budget. How much money's going to go to it. That's it. You can't withdraw this project and make up a new one. The time for that has passed. That was done last year.
But we are,
You can't, you couldn't apply for roads on that thing?
no.
No.
No, I'm not talking about now. I'm talking
No,
about-
no.
No, that's why the projects are what they were. you were limited. At one time, they had what do they call it?
It has to be revitalization,
Yeah.
an economic development
Economic
reason.
development, and then they
Yeah,
kind of,
roads aren't important for economic development.
No.
they won't take it, they won't accept it.
They won't take, and actually, you're not even supposed to use, they got an exception, like 2 weeks before applications were due, they had an exception to pay for public buildings. It's not usually even an allowable offense. You can't take these funds and go build a public building. I know y'all are so far checked out of this meeting right now. I
No,
can
we're
tell.
not checked out. It's just, it's a head scratcher to hear these different things when we
Yeah.
got big fish frying right now.
We need to look at this a little bit.
Yeah, do you have a piece
Seriously.
of paper to give us so we can look at what you're looking at?
Yep, I will make a copy of it and give it to you guys.
I'm sorry.
I guess
It's-
the main thing is, none of them are gonna cost us money after we get the grant, right?
None of your people.
No,
Kinda like the fisheries building, who's gonna have to maintain and upkeep with no tax base?
yes, that's why you withdrew the fish on.
Yes.
That was the only project on there that we.
Hey, can I?
Okay, so, no, the LiDAR one, there will be some ongoing, maintenance costs because it is gonna be a software. So by the time you get it and you train your people, you're gonna probably obligate yourself to increase like your annual fee. We already pay like an annual fee to Data Scout and all that, but that's just something that comes with the online
What
support.
kind of fee we talking, Katie?
Oh, it's like,
Take forever.
15,000 there?
it's not a lot, but she's gonna pull
I'm
it.
just wondering if is this benefiting also the tax assessor and
Permitting, yeah. So that,
permitting? Maybe we can split some of them costs or something? I don't know how it works.
that's definitely could be negotiated with the tax
You
assessor.
ain't getting no money from Scott.
Yeah, so, the LiDAR one, the grant funds aren't gonna pay for your support, for your platform support. But we already have that built into the budget, we already pay it anyways.
Oh.
But if there's any increase in cost, and there might be you have to pay for more gigabytes of storage, like you might have to go from a gig to a terabyte, well, that's gonna be more costly. Then you would see some increase in your cost on that, but you can't use the grant for that, that's already coming out of your general fund. And the tax assessor, it's their contract.
I know,
Oh, thank you. And the reason with this, and I really didn't want to get too far into it, but Cameron Parish has been working really hard behind the scenes on getting all of these projects approved because the stipulation for a CDBG grant is it has to benefit an LMI census block. And at the time we did the applications, we did not have any LMI census blocks in the entire parish at all. So we had a list of projects that were never going to be approved because they were never going to meet your national objective. We fought with them for the last 9 months, and they finally, and then after 9 months of fighting with them, the new census numbers came out, and they said, oh, wait, you do have some LMI census blocks. You have 3. So we had to come back and redo every application and pick out the ones that benefited the LMI census blocks and which ones didn't. So that's how you ended up with your primary. They benefit your primary census census blocks, and the 2 did not benefit the census block. So they were listed as alternate, and for that budget reasons, because they weren't going to qualify. And then I get a call end of late last week from the OCD manager herself, and she says, look, I know Cameron's having problems meeting the census blocks. Don't tell anybody, but we're going to allow you to submit your applications meeting the urgent need objective. So now these 2 applications, they're all going to be redone for the 3rd time as an urgent need application. And she said, oh, by the way, they're due November 30th, and you're not going to get an extension because here we are giving you a favor. So something that was set in stone 12 months ago, now I have a few weeks to get redone by a new jury and get the application submitted, or you're going to lose $11.4 million. So I know this has kind of been thrown on you, and it's a lot to absorb, but it was thrown on us with not a lot of time to react. And so if you just want to fund all your projects
So
with your budget,
are all these Is this all WAGs or is this actual projects that
No, these are projects they have actual cost
real
estimates.
cost and this
Yes.
is gonna be on point cost?
As much as they can be, yes.
So
Without going to design.
Shoreline protection, where are we talking about protecting the shoreline?
That's what we made our catch-all. We have ongoing
That's a
shoreline
catch-all.
between Gomeza funded project, and then what's going on at Rockefeller, that's what's funded with our restore money. We can pick either one and just say, hey, this is our leftover CDBG money. We're going to construction cost only. We're adding an extension to this project already approved.
Yeah, but that-
What we did with our Ike CDBG
But that
money
is only for coastal.
So
For the
flood,
Gulf, not.
for the Gulf.
inland- Not for inland shoreline protection.
No,
So
just for the
flood-
Gulf.
so flood alert system, what is that?
That is all your rain and tide gauges. That's something that Kara's been working really hard on with Monty and Calcasieu Parish Police Jury. They have their online platform database and their employees. And so this is would go to pay to put tide gauges and rain gauges everywhere that all the drainage boards have decided. She can probably come tell you exactly where. And it's gonna be parish-wide, and it's gonna be maintained and operated by Calcasieu staff. But they're gonna work directly with Monty, and so they can say, hey, look, your gauge is reading this, you need to go open up this flood structure. I mean, that's the intent of what it is, but we're buying the actual equipment, and then the service contract would be paid out of Kara's budget with Calcasieu
Question.
Parish.
Kara, on these gauges, are any of them gonna be along the river? Ship channel?
I do believe the boat launch,
No, the reason I'm asking
it's,
is that we've been having a lot of issues brought up with tidal surges caused by the shipping in the thing.
Right.
I'm wondering if that would be something we
Something to
could coordinate
track
with.
it.
We could actually have some data to go to bat with.
okay, I can double check the locations, I'm pretty sure we can.
Yeah, cause if
Make
it's
that
gonna be the
happen.
boat.
Wasn't it like 17?
I don't
Just
remember, I was
say
just
I think it was 17 different.
I was just thinking, it might have been even more than that.
I think it was. I want to say it was 17. Let me see. I can probably pull it up.
So sewer upgrades, what does that entail? I mean, I know sewer upgrades.
Cameron
What does that
Sewer,
entail?
the Cameron Sewer Board asked to do some of their upgrades on their lift stations, like the electrical. They have submersible pumps, is what they're saying, but all the electrical gets flooded, and so they had asked to be included for elevating that.
Same with the pump station elevation
No, that's going to be brand new pump stations.
for,
Rex Street for Marshall Street inundation, yep, and then Kings Bayou.
Won't do no good to put them on Marshall Street if we don't find out where that water's coming from.
No joke.
So-
But again, you did withdraw your
Yeah.
number 2.
This money can be used for something, you say maybe overflow to the coastal, to the shoreline protection?
It can go 100% to that if that's what y'all want. Y'all can take all $11 million and put it to coastal if you want. If you want to submit your applications, what the consultants had recommended was get your application in with your cost estimates, get them fully approved, and then you always, as you're getting into design, if you decide, okay, look, we want to abandon this project and just allocate it to a different one, you can always pass a resolution and amend it. But you can't do anything till you get the projects approved, and they're due November 30th.
If we don't spend some money on one of these projects, we can put it all towards coastal.
Yep.
Okay, so it's-
So, if you want to take and look at this, we would need you guys to call a special meeting before November 30th to give me authority to submit all of these as primary projects. Right now, the way the budget is with removing the commercial fishing dock, you have enough budget to just pull your alternate projects up there and just submit everything.
so Sonny,
But-
I know you was talking about the Holly Beach fishing pier. The beach development board's taking over that if
They
they
will,
get built?
once we get it done, yeah.
And they are gonna generate some kind of revenue on there to keep it up?
Yep, any revenues or any expenses should be theirs.
And just keep in mind, because I know this is the first time you guys are doing something like this, this is just a project application. You're not giving authority to incur any cost on this project outside of just getting the project approved. So once the projects get approved, the consultants have to come to you and get authority to procure an engineer. and you would set a budget. Then they have to come back to you and get authority to bid. So you're not given a green light to do all these projects today for this amount. What you would be voting on is just saying it's okay for the consultants to submit applications on these projects.
If we do that, say we did that today, how long are we talking about before that would be ratified? Another year?
Oh, it just depends on how long it takes OCD to approve the projects. Some of these projects might get denied and say they're not consistent with the state's plan. We don't know until they approve it, but right now, you have approval to go to full application with all of these projects. But if there's anything on here that you have no intention of ever funding, we can remove it now. It'll save us money with the consultants because they won't be building out an application, incurring admin fees for something that have no intention of funding. But if you're good with these projects, besides you already did remove the fishing dock, if you're good with us submitting all and see what OCD says, we can do that.
So I guess if we go ahead with this, the two alternates will basically take the place of the fishing dock.
Correct.
I'm personally good with that myself.
Oh, they would use that, they would utilize that
2 million.
for the LiDAR and,
Yes.
Yeah.
okay. I
Yeah.
didn't, I wasn't, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could just move it up and
So do we need to actually number the primary projects, or you just need?
you do need to make a motion saying that you want to reclass LiDAR and 911 as primary projects. That's what I would need from you guys today if y'all are ready. If not, we need it by the 30th. Whatever you want your primary projects to be, we need it by the 30th.
I'd like to make the motion to take the LiDAR and the 911 call center and switch them from alternate to primary projects.
Second.
That what you're looking for, okay?
Oh, yeah, I was waiting on y'all to say yeah or nay.
Got a motion by Mr. Michael, second by Mr. Shorty. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Okay,
carried.
so after the first of the year, we should probably hear something from OCD. I'm gonna get the consultants to come and have a meeting with you guys and go through all of the projects, like the ones that qualify, and they'll have a better idea of the budgets. And then y'all have
So
the opportunity to still move things around once we know which projects OCD is gonna approve.
just to give us a little bit of time to study this, are we gonna be asked to prioritize these?
Not,
No.
not until the consultants come back.
No, I understand
Yeah.
that, but,
Not till-
Yes, you will be.
Approved.
oh, okay.
You will be. When you know from OCD which ones are approved, then we'll come back and we'll say, okay, these are the ones approved, this is the budget, here's your, now you can decide which ones, again, you want to fund first, which ones you want to wait.
Okay.
I mean, the consultants think they'll all be approved, but you just never know with OCD. And we officially are removing commercial fishing dock from the application. So that's gonna be something that they're gonna get on the new application. Sorry, I know that was, a lot of history to try to have to,
It's okay.
We're learning something new every day.
lots of grants, a grant activity, and they'll have different rules.
None for
That's it.
McCall Bridge.
None for McCall
So
Bridge right
Ashley
now.
is reaching out to their grant.
You got an offer for some assistance.
Thank you. That helps. And, Ms. Robin, this line, or I know Katie's saying that, the tax assessor can utilize this a lot, and,
Yeah, I guess they would put a layer on top on the, on our one map.
yeah, I was just wondering, like, the operating cost is a little scary, you know, that we keep,
The data scout's
And it-
2,500 a year.
oh, is this something similar? I mean, that's,
Yeah, I think it would just be another layer. I mean, I think it would be a layer, an
I got it,
updated layer
Scott.
on that one map.
2,500 a year.
Looking at everything.
well, you're not talking about a whole lot of operating.
So
Oh,
that
yeah.
explains.
Okay. You
Yeah,
just never know, so get a little nervous.
I just said that explains, ladies.
Anything else, Mr. Campbell?
I think we're good.
Any other questions?
So are we gonna have a meeting in December early, right?
Yes,
before the voting.
yes.
I have a suggestion and see what y'all's thoughts are. I really, got a lot out of the, pre-agenda meetings, which gave us time to evaluate and think about it before we had to vote on anything. And whether it's a open meeting or special session or what. I just think things like this, it gives you more time than just reacting to it. Is that something y'all would be interested in?
You can have the pre-agenda meetings exactly like what we were having. All I have to do is post a notice on the door within 24 hours before that meeting. It doesn't have to be in the Cameron Pilot, it doesn't have to be on the website, it just has to be posted where you're gonna hold the
Public
meeting,
meeting,
24 hours prior.
Okay. That's something, I know that takes another day out of y'all, but.
I believe that we need to be a little more, we need to get the budget items in a little quicker. Not up to the last couple of days, and I know it's kind of all our, we're always throwing stuff on y'all.
So do y'all want a special budget meeting prior to December's police jury meeting?
Do we need one?
Are you talking about?
Want
for
one just
for next
before?
year? I'm good with whatever.
That's up to you. You want one before the December meeting,
Yeah,
like that morning?
Yeah, we can have one that morning, or we can have one before. It's just you're voting on the budget at your voting meeting in December. So once you vote on it, it's done.
I think we better have a special day to review all that,
Okay.
because we're,
Yeah.
at least that's my thought.
No, she can send it for review, Mr. Johnny, just the,
Yeah, we could do
meeting would be the day of
Okay.
our normal.
Yeah, but I think Mr. Johnny's saying actually have a meet to discuss it
Oh,
with the group.
we can do that too.
I would rather that.
We need to discuss what we were discussing today,
Yeah.
that we postponed,
Yeah.
garbage pickup.
And to me, in person, you get so much more out of the meeting and understanding each other's and the way we think.
We also,
Just, doing it on your own.
and we also need to meet with the guy handling our cleanup stuff. We could do that all at the same time, maybe the same day, might spend 3-4 hours here, but we get it all done.
Because.
Special meeting day.
3 hours a day or 3 hours another day.
Yeah.
Which we have the time to answer
So I gotta
questions and
start
ask
publishing
questions.
this
And,
next week.
and get the feel of everybody's ideas out of it
Huh?
versus getting this stuff and then waiting to the day of the meeting and then trying to figure out what everybody's thinking and having to make a split decision.
Good.
And I can tell you another thing that Katie's been after us about, and I personally think we need to have that discussion on the
Do
same
y'all wanna
day.
adjourn the budget meeting, or y'all done with the budget?
Move to
meeting?
adjourn.
Yeah,
Move to second.
sorry.
Motion by